Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hellspring podcast. I am your host, Stephen Works, and today we are sitting down with one of my good friends, Ashlee, who is a creative powerhouse, digital strategist, and a builder of over $100 million in philanthropic impact through storytelling that moves people to act. She's a strategic initiatives and customer success manager at GoFundMe that just celebrated their 15-year anniversary by hosting their very first ever fundathon, with John Wolf helping raise over $60,000 for 50 different non-for-profits and individual fundraisers in 15 hours. We talk about her time as a content creator for over 10 plus years, her love for fundraising and video games, her past experiences with working with global talent like Post Malone, Jacksepticeye, and even Jack Black, to strategic initiatives for purpose-driven brands and non-for-profits. So if you love charity fundraising, if you love GoFundMe, and you just love talking about the love of video games and want to learn a little bit more about Ashlee, definitely stick around and enjoy today's episode. Hello, Ashlee. Welcome to the Hello Spring podcast for season 2. I am so excited to have you here because you have been around in the industry for a very long time. I've gotten to know you through different spaces from your past experiences and endeavors. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you today about what you're doing for 2026 and beyond. How
Oh,
are
thank you.
you?
I'm doing great. First, thank you so much for having me. It is an incredible honor. I'm just really excited just to chat with you. Like you said, we've known each other throughout different spaces, and I just love how like invisible strings just continually help me cross paths with people throughout the years.
Same here. I feel like we've known each other for so long, like you mentioned, and I'm like, where has the time gone? It's like you blink and it's like, wait a minute. How long have we known each other? 10, 20?
Oh my
So many
gosh,
years.
I know. I think about that stuff so often. We're gonna get into it, but like I've being a content creator for 10 years and being 32, I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for a third of my life. How fast has that gone?
No, so true. So to kind of get things started, can you tell us about who you are and what you do and how you kind of got started in this industry?
Yeah, I'm longtime content creator, been streaming and partnered on Twitch since 2015, 10 years. It'll be my 11-year anniversary in October. But my just true love for giving back and helping people led me into the world of nonprofit fundraising and bleeding that love directly into the live streaming spaces. So it's just kind of like a quick little overview.
Nice. I love that. So how did your passion for like content creation influence your career path?
So it heavily influenced my career path. I originally was going to college to get my bachelor's in psychology. I had
Mm.
this master plan to get my post baccalaureate and go to master's education into speech therapy. I really wanted to help because I have my own hearing issues since I was a child, and I really wanted to get into speech pathology. And at the end of my education for my bachelor's, I started playing video games. And then somebody was like, your commentary is hilarious. You really should be streaming on Twitch. And I was like, what the heck is Twitch? And I discovered Twitch. I started streaming and I was like, oh my gosh, this place is just so rewarding. You can connect with people with similar interests. Like the way that I like just to describe how Twitch felt 10 years ago, it was like Tumblr meets YouTube. It was like the perfect mash of all of your interests, but in video format. And I absolutely loved it. And the thing that was the most career defining was that connection of people from around the world, hearing their stories. And people would sometimes say that they had a difficult day and that they were just joining the stream because it made their day better or it gave them a chance to like de-stress. And that's when I realized that there's so much power behind the communities that you build. And I knew right then on I wanted to do something within the live stream spaces, specifically with like continuing to help people. So I still did get my bachelor's in psychology, but I never went on for speech pathology.
Okay, I like that. That goes to show that you really genuinely enjoy and love what you do, and it
Mm-hmm.
shows honestly. And like you mentioned, like with streaming, there's so many highs and lows to it all for people. Like I'm having a bad day, or I just want to hang out and chat, or just like see what you're doing. And streaming has changed so much in the past 10 years. And it kind of makes sense how you say, like, in 2015, Twitch was like Tumblr meets YouTube, and thinking
Mhm.
about how people nowadays in 2026, this new trend is saying 2026 is like the 2006 now. I'm like, oh my gosh, the year
I know.
2006 or 2016. And I'm like, wow, time back then was weird and different. But seeing how much people have grown both professionally and personally, but also how platforms have grown in the past 10, 15, 20 years is like so surprising. And it's nice to see that most platforms are really taking their genuine time to build their platform for good and, build a community around it. And knowing how with streaming, it's always kind of scary to press that go live button. What
Mhm.
pushed you to hit that go live button? Because going live is like real time, non-edited, and it be kind of spooky, but I think having that genuine love for like video games or whatever type of hobby that you might have, like what made you really push that go live button? Was it a person? Was it peer pressure? Was it just what was it?
Oh, it's kind of like self-inflicted peer pressure for a bit. But it's kinda like how you mentioned, like, it's live, there is a scary element to that, and, part of, like, my psychology degree, there was something that was so real and raw about having the opportunity to be vulnerable in a non-edited way that I just truly loved about Twitch and live streaming, doing myself, doing it as a viewer. But you had mentioned, like, was there a person? So there actually was someone very, very early on in my streaming career. I had a viewer who at the time said that they were 16 years old, struggling with their mental health in school. They were failing out of classes, and that they were actually struggling with suicidal ideation. And
Mhm.
I told them, hey, every time I'm live, I want to see you in my stream. I want you to check in. When they would come to my stream, I would ask them what homework they had. Were they working on it? They told me they were working on their homework. I asked them what they learned in school that day. And it became a daily check in where, like, I wanted to go live because I wanted to see their name every single day. I wanted to hear how their day was going. And they ended up completely turning their lives around. They got straight A's in school, and they still check in with me over the years from life updates, partners, pet adoptions. They attended culinary school. I don't stream as much anymore because my career is like my primary focus, but they still
Mhm.
come and check in every so often. And, they're 26 years old now and just completely thriving. And that's just such a cool experience to have had. But that was one of the reasons why I would keep hitting that go live button every day, is because it's something as silly as me playing The Sims, Stardew Valley, or some like friend swap games that have come out could potentially help change one person's life. And that's what motivates me to go live every day or whenever I do go live.
That's really nice. It's definitely it's so heartwarming and so lovely to hear about someone's day or someone's big life milestone, whether it's school
Hmm.
related, relationship related. It's just always so exciting and showing up and keep seeing that person's name. You're building that rapport with somebody. And especially when you build that rapport, you build a community of kind, like genuine people to eventually see them in person, like at conventions like TwitchCon or
Hmm.
Gamescom or wherever it might be, and it's like, wow. Like that like, it's honestly a common thing that people never know who's watching, and
Hmm.
especially when they see that number, it's like, "Whoa, that's a lot of people," and when you see the people in real life, like, "Wow,
Yeah.
I've done something," and it
Yeah.
blows your mind.
It truly does, and you mentioned, like, looking at a n number and being like, "Whoa, that's a lot of people." One of the things that I've always had to remind myself, like, sometimes, if you've been streaming this long and you don't stream as often as I do anymore, you're definitely gonna see your numbers drop. I used to have hundreds
Mhm.
of concurrent, and now, like, if I have 10 people, sometimes I might get discouraged, but then, like, I remember the time that I had to do a presentation at work, in like a conference room with 10 people, and my heart was pounding. I was so nervous to talk in front of just 10 people. And it's so crazy just to think like how large those smaller numbers actually are as well.
Hmm. Definitely, and definitely so for sure. Because you can have one person in the room, 10 people in the room, 10,000 people in the room, but
Hmm.
it's like when you know I always say your core 4, your core 10 is like, you know that they're there to help you, support you, cheer you on, and make your day, and you're there to make their day as well, kind of
Oh
back
yeah.
and forth. And when you see and hear people talk about what they do every day and what their career might be, it kind of allows you to kind of push yourself even further, both personally and professionally, to pursue other goals and other dreams that takes you to your next endeavor. And so you've been streaming for a very long time, since 2015, that I've gotten to know you through streaming from like on Twitch, but then I've also gotten to know you through other ways, from fundraising for non-for-profits on Tiltify, which I've known you
Hmm.
for a while through that. And like how did you first get involved into like the fundraising charitable like space? Was it from doing your own campaign, or was it just because that you joined a non-for-profit?
Yeah. So this goes way back even before college and streaming and stuff. And I'm gonna try to like not get emotional about this, but when I was 16, I unfortunately lost my best friend to a highly aggressive cancer. And as a teenager, you're picking out your prom dress, you're making these plans, you're talking about boys and relationships and stuff. But I had kind of the life event that changes your brain chemistry of carrying your best friend's casket at her funeral procession. And I ended up taking my grief and I immediately turned it into action. Within 2 months of her passing, I organized and planned a concert within our community with some of our favorite local bands, friends that we've made connections with. I found venue, worked with the bands, did branding, did marketing, and hosted a successful charity concert in her memory. And at the end of the day, through ticket sales and after expenses, it ended up bringing about like $1,500, which I ended up donating to the children's hospital that my friend received her treatment at that time. I didn't think $1,500 was a lot, but looking back at 16-year-old me tackling and producing a concert, it's crazy to even think about that. But I really see that as kind of the turning point in my life of wanting to like give back and do charitable services.
Oh, if you could see my face, I'm just like over here just in awe. I'm like, you did that, and you'll do it again. Like
I
you're
done did
changing
that.
literal lives.
I done did that, and just kind of like a sidebar. Uh, I'm like total sidebar. But do you know the Academy is like old school, like Midwest emo pop kind of band?
I don't think so, no.
Oh my gosh. So that was my friend's make-a-wish was to meet them, and she brought me along with them. And today, like literally today, they announced their first album in 18 years. And
Oh
so
my
like
gosh.
this entire like memory is like top of mind right now. So like, oh, I pre-ordered that vinyl. You better believe it. So like this is like all like top of mind for me right now is like just the memory of like where this all began.
Oh, that is
Ooh.
so heartwarming. I love that. It's like it definitely takes that one moment in your life that changes everything, that makes you want
Hmm.
to do even more. And it takes me kind of back to like my childhood too, where I've wanted to raise money for people who didn't have a lot of clothes, or didn't have proper school supplies, or just didn't have any
Oh.
food, or anything in their area. And so I always were like doing lemonade stands, or like going door to door, or just doing something. And I remember like Hope for Haiti, or just Haiti in general, for the earthquake that happened. I was in high school, and when they had a presentation about it, and just knowing, like, even though I didn't have a personal connection to Haiti, it's just like seeing people hurt or going through something.
Hmm.
It's like, I'm gonna find a way to do something, no matter how long or how hard it takes. I'm going to try my very best, and all you really do have to do is try. And whether you raise $1, $2, $1,500 or more, it's all going to something great.
Oh, 100%. And I'm just giving you like a little virtual hug right now because I feel like we
Oh,
both need that.
we
You're
do. We
you're
do.
amazing, and just hearing kind of where you got your start as well is it truly just begins with wanting to help your neighbor, help your friend somewhere, and most people that I know in this space all have similar stories.
Yeah. And I think also with the ever growing, you know, digital space, I find that with fundraising, even though there's been a lot of digital fundraisers throughout the years, everything started right in your backyard, word of mouth, in person. And
Mhm.
I always find the best effective way to fundraise is through word of mouth. Whether if you can go door to door or go to your local coffee shop or some, mom and pop shop and hang up a flyer. That
Mhm.
does so much good. And QR codes are now a thing where people can just scan them and go straight to the thing or donate, in person. And I think I've seen so many great things happen in person and also online. And from your general experience, can you share like some insights of like how word of mouth marketing has impacted fundraising
Oh my
campaigns?
Oh, yeah. I mean, word of mouth is so important, if not it's the most important thing, especially as creators. Most of us, if not all of us, don't even have like marketing budgets to run traditional advertising campaigns.
Mhm.
So, word of mouth and leveraging your social circle is some of the most powerful tools that we have. Um, One of the greatest ways to make an impact via word of mouth is through storytelling. I think storytelling is the strongest tool that we as creators have. Like I think of you, and when you play The Sims, you are creating stories in a space that is just supposed to simulate life. You're giving lore and backstories and establishing like mindsets and thoughts for inanimate, characters in a sense.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, who doesn't? We all do if we play The Sims, to be honest. Um,
True.
and the storytelling is one of the biggest tools that we have. You can think of any large creator that might have hosted a fundraiser. It's likely that you heard of it through word of mouth, through somebody retweeting or sharing, or you just scrolling on Instagram and it just popping up in your algorithm feed. And it's not because like, hi, I'm supporting this nonprofit in a video. It's probably because you heard, hi, I'm supporting this nonprofit because I have this disease or I have a family member that's been impacted by this. You're hearing the story and you're developing emotions towards that person and their story, and it makes you want to fundraise and support back and back. So one of the biggest tools that we have as creators is word of mouth, is through our storytelling.
Mm. 100%. It's like when you have something personal that you can connect to this non-profit, it goes above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, truly. And I think what's so exciting about being a creator is like you are creating something first for you, but then you're creating something for somebody else that may need that or wanted to just enjoy something that day and hearing the words that come out of your mouth in a video or in a live stream or on a social post. It goes beyond just saying, I'm just gonna post it and just do that, but you have a greater impact when you put your true authentic self into your own content, and especially
Mm-hmm.
for fundraising as well. It's
Absolutely.
like
Authenticity is one of the first things you can really lead with as a creator.
100%. And I see trends come and go, but I think the one thing I can say that with millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I think that's the other one, that I find that with just things I see online that these three generations are the most socially online,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all just doing things because we want to do them, and we don't let anyone else tell us saying you can't do this, you can't do that of X, Y, and Z reasons. Like we're going to do it because we believe in it and we stand up for what
Mm-hmm.
we believe in. And like, why do
It's
you
it's like a
think
personal challenge when somebody says, "Oh, you can't do
exactly
that."
reverse psychology is like, no? Oh, you mean yes?
Exactly.
Okay.
Watch me.
Exactly, and it goes to show above and beyond out here doing great things. There's so many people have done so many talented, wonderful, life-changing things, and I'm like, "Y'all did that." Like, I'm seeing
I
like, I watch award
know.
shows all the time, and I'm like, "You had a dream, and you did that,
Ugh,
and
I have
it's
to stop
showing."
watching award shows because I find myself, like, in tears during acceptance
No.
speeches, and I'm just like, "I can't do this anymore."
I know.
I think was
Oh,
it even for the Game Awards, I think it was for Claire Obscure. Ah, was just, like,
yes.
tearing up through just some of the acceptance speeches.
I really just watch for the speeches and maybe sometimes here and there for a game, like, I don't know that game. I'll check it out, I'll wish list it.
Mhm,
But really, it's like the speeches that really make me show up each and every time because everyone has a personal connection to something, and like you said, storytelling. Everyone's telling their story, and having that story can change somebody else's life, saying, "If they did it, so can I."
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And what would you say is like why these generations are the most engaged like like demographics online, especially like with Tiltify and also like GoFundMe?
Yeah, so Gen Z and specifically leaning a little bit more towards younger millennials, a little bit
Mhm.
older millennials, we still kinda grew up, having to come inside when the street lights came on, but,
True.
Gen Z and younger millennials, they truly grew up in the age of social media, and over the years, this demographic has grown up in a world that's been shaped by major global events, challenges, and constant news cycles that are being pumped into their devices constantly. And the research at GoFundMe is actually showing that 40%, 42% of Gen Z donors want to be a part of the greater solution. So, in a digital world where it feels impossible to escape that doom scroll, we have a generation that is wanting to do something about it. They want to see changes and solutions in this world. And they're usually the first ones that are willing to make that first step. They're the first ones that are either willing to be vocal about it. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen people post on Instagram, like, here are the phone numbers for your local Congress and Senate leaders, and call them and speak up. They're the first ones that are taking that step, whether it be through their donation, creating a fundraiser, or just being an advocate. And we're finding that at that time, Gen Z, they're the ones who are wanting to share what means the most to them, and that is influencing others to donate and participate and get involved.
Exactly. And it definitely does show. It builds that rapport, builds that relationship, and it's like it just changes, like I said, changes lives 100%.
Mhm.
And, like, sometimes Gen Z and the younger am I wait, I'm a younger millennial, I'm like, how old am I again? Um, because
I
I'm
think
like
96 is like the youngest millennial. Don't quote
okay,
me
then
on
that's
that.
me. Then that's me. I was like, "Wait a minute, what time, what year?" But yeah, I'm on like, I was born '96. I always say I'm a zillennial because 'cause I'm like
Mm.
the younger millennial, but the older Gen Z. So, like, I
Mhm.
grew up with the digital age, but also didn't at the same time. Like, I kind of understood
Yeah.
the first time of, like, social media and, like, "Wait, this is new," and, like, I'm excited to see what this is going to be. Even though I had no comprehension of, like, what this was, as I was growing up, I became more aware of, like, my surroundings and more aware of how social media or just the internet can change people's lives, whether it's good or bad. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
it there's a lot more good than bad, and I like seeing the positive side of the internet and how it can really impact a person's life, um, further than they ever expected it to be,
Mhm.
and I find, like, with fundraising and, like, my general history of fundraising, like, first time doing it online was fundraising for, like, St. Jude and seeing other creators do it as well. I'm like, "That sounds kind of cool. I wanna do that as well," and was my first time
Mhm.
ever fundraising for St. Jude, at least online, and, I mean, I raised, like, $200 and, like, that's huge, like, that's $200 more than St. Jude did not have, and seeing
Mhm.
how that much can change a kid's life, their treatment, their family, whatever it might be,
That's 2
made
red
me
wagons.
exactly, 2 red wagons, and those red wagons are Lovely. I love hearing
Oh,
about the story about the red wagons and knowing,
same.
like, it's just like, if I was a kid, I would love to ride in a red wagon every day. That stuff
I
is
I mean, I
exciting.
you know, I would just recently went to Disneyland and I saw kids in wagons and I
Oh,
was like, "Oh, I envy you." But it's that storytelling that St. Jude has done so well where the moment you said $200, I didn't think $200, I thought 2 red wagons. That's 2 children that have wagons to go around the hospital in.
mhm. And, like, with St. Jude, like, what I love is that they even though it is a hospital, they make it not a hospital, if that makes sense, because
Mhm.
they make it a full-on experience for the kids to know that you are here, but we are gonna have you live your childhood the best way we know how, and the big number one thing that really stood out to me is that they don't have to pay a single dime. They
Yep.
don't pay for anything. St. Jude pays for everything, their treatment, their care, their housing, everything, and it's donors and community members and people around the world, whether it's fundraising online or calling them or looking at the commercials that they produce on TV and calling that number and donating, whether it's one time, monthly, yearly, whatever it might be. It's like St. Jude is doing the work. Danny Thomas's mission is like, "No kid should die in the dawn of life," and I truly believe
Mhm.
that. And
Oh, yeah.
I've seen so many campaigns here and there, whether it was raising $1 or $10,000,000 that what I love is, like, Tiltify was my first experience, of course, and you had a role at Tiltify.
Mhm.
And there were so many campaigns that you'll have done from just doing influencer work or celebrity partnerships. And like, can you tell me a little bit more about your experience around that time with working with so many creators and celebrities around the world?
Yeah, so when I think about this, like, so Tiltify was my first industry job, like, right out of college in the middle of my streaming career, and was my first kind of like dipping my toes in philanthropy, specifically within the creator economy. I originally started as a charity success manager where I was guiding nonprofits in building their creator programs and was truly using my experience as a creator to kind of help kickstart that engagement. Like, hey, like if you're going to talk to a creator, it's best to, refer to them by their gamer tag and not their legal name because they might not
Hmm.
want their legal name to be well known. um but I was able to really translate what was working on platforms like Twitch and YouTube into tangible strategies that felt approachable for organizations. Over time, I ended up moving into working directly with creators and celebrities, helping design campaigns that were authentic to their brand, their mission, to creators, celebrities, and the nonprofits. Um, that meant everything from building incentive structures, aligning causes that they generally cared about, producing tentpole moments, as well as like large scale live stream events. Um, I was always really proud of whatever I was building, and it was more than just one off fundraisers, but seeing like true movements that were changing the world and changing the landscape.
Indeed, indeed, and I've seen so many great things you've all have done at Tiltify, and it blows me out the water. You've done so many creative things from working for, like well, mostly, like, I remember seeing the autism community that you all did for the Color the Spectrum with so many
Mm-hmm.
different celebrities, and I'm like, "Okay, wow, that's really cool, that's exciting. What else could they do?" And you just keep on doing it, and
Yeah.
it's like one thing after another. And one specifically that really stood out to me, just coming from, like, the YouTube side and because I started streaming in 2017, I remember seeing Jacksepticeye putting out the word of mouth saying, "Hey, I'm doing this thing, would you all come and help me do it?" And
Mm-hmm.
Thanksmas was an annual thing in December that I was like, "That's iconic." He's using his platform for good because at the time around that time, he was, like, one of the biggest creators on just in the world, I will say, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing him doing something for good, using his audience, his platform all around, and knowing what he could do, and bringing his friends, other people, other partners together to raise awareness for said charities, it makes me happy to know that there's really good people out there that continue to do that.
Oh, yeah. Jack I just wanna say, like, how amazing Jacksepticeye is. Not only has he made, like, an incredible impact in the world with charitable life and fundraising, he's genuinely one of the nicest creators that I've had the chance to work with. And I think the biggest thing that I've ever learned working, like, on Thankmas and on, activations with Jacksepticeye, I also got to work with him for the Hope for Home, COVID relief, fundraiser that he did. But,
Mhm.
not only is Jack a huge driver of the actual fundraiser, but as you mentioned, it's how it's empowering thousands of smaller creators to participate with him. And I think that's what's powerful. It's not a only me, but it's a power of us type of campaign. Um, I just absolutely loved working with Jack and think that what he's doing is absolutely incredible.
That is, like you said, the power of us, and it's, like, not just a one person, it's everyone, and I love that. I love that statement, and y'all have worked with so many different creators like Post Malone, Jack Black, Bella Poarch, like, there's so many people that I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I've seen them on TV, I've seen them in, like, socials, and especially when going back to our conversation about, like, social media and, like, Gen Z really takes this, like, challenge onto like, this challenge on saying, "You said I can't? Watch me. I will do what I want to do and make a difference." Like, more specifically, Bella Poarch, I just
Mhm.
remember seeing her on TikTok, and I'm like, "Oh," because TikTok was, like, kind of a big boom. Started, I think, in, like, 2019, but really kind of got more bigger in the pandemic, and I just remember seeing her and the growth that she had from the beginning in her story. The
Mhm.
storytelling truly matters, like, she's not just a TikToker, she did other things before that, and seeing her story and her genuine impact and her continued growth from being a creator to being a performer to being all these different things, and then taking that spin to make change. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"Yes, this is what I love to see every single day." People, if y'all are listening, one thing you should know, no matter how big or how small you are, you can make a difference. That if one person's watching your content or your stream, that's one person because they genuinely enjoy what you do.
Absolutely, and it's if you don't think that you can make an impact just by speaking up or making a donation, you might be even silently inspiring somebody else who may not feel like they have a voice. You might be empowering them to develop their own.
Mhm, exactly. Now, you've done a lot of things throughout your time in the industry, from streaming to working for non-for-profits, but you recently, a while back ago, I will say, you started working at GoFundMe this past year in 2025. Like, what has been your
Mhm.
experience working with GoFundMe? Because they are like a very huge non-for-profit company that I feel like everyone knows, like, GoFundMe, GoFundMe, GoFundMe. And we've seen them do so many creative things, so many talented, wonderful things from built one crowdfunding platform and having successful fund campaigns for fundraising for somebody's hospital bills, helping somebody, buy a house or education or funding their business or doing literally anything or just fundraising in general for another non-for-profit.
Yeah.
And you going into this, like, what led you to this point that I would love to be a part of this initiative, this GoFundMe initiative?
Yeah, real quick, so GoFundMe, is not a nonprofit, but we actually do have
Right.
our own nonprofit arm called GoFundMe.org, where we do a lot of amazing things within nonprofit realm. We have grants, we develop our head funds for crises events where people they don't really know where to go, but they know they can trust in GoFundMe.org to be able to um, take those funds and divvy it where it needs to be done. Um, but I like truly, I felt like out of any company, GoFundMe's mission probably spoke the most to me, and that was helping people help each other. And you had mentioned earlier, it was like it starts in your backyard, and that's exactly where GoFundMe started 15 years ago, was helping a neighbor. And I think that just really spoke to me. And like when I had the opportunity to come and work here, I was like, that's what I want to do. That to me is it's so great because it reaches beyond nonprofit. It reaches, directly to people who need the funds in medical uncertainties. It meets people who are facing crisis moments like the devastating LA wildfires last year. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually joined GoFundMe right off the heels of the LA wildfires. And on GoFundMe, over $265 million was raised for LA. And coming in and just seeing the way that the team works, everything from our trust and safety team to our success team to our comms team, it's like a well-oiled machine coming in and seeing just how well the entire team has made helping easier. And I think that just really speaks volumes of like GoFundMe's mission. And you actually said something way earlier as well. You're like, oh yeah, you find a way. That is actually one of the pillars at GoFundMe, is finding a way. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait to bring this up later.
And like GoFundMe is a wonderful place to be. I see it, I hear it, and when you all were at um uh TwitchCon, that that place of convention, and the dinner that y'all had was so lovely. It was so genuine, and seeing your team, or at least some of the of your team there,
Mm-hmm.
I can just know that you all really love what you do, and like you said, a well-oiled machine, and it's just keep on trucking and really just doing the work and making a huge difference. Like in the last year, like while doing my research and everything, GoFundMe in the last year had like 79 million donations made and like 72 million fundraisers shared. Like that's a large
Mm-hmm.
number. Me thinking like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in the world, but I'm like so many fundraisers, so many donations come through every single year, every single day, every hour, every second. And people just care, care to give,
Yeah.
care to help, care to share.
It's exactly that. And you'd mentioned like the internet has good things and bad things. And being at GoFundMe, we get to see that good and know, oh my gosh, the world is not going to be as damned as we think it is, because people out there still do care. Last year, GoFundMe celebrated our 15-year anniversary of giving. And we also, at that same time, celebrated over $40 billion raised across the GoFundMe products and experiences, which I think, don't quote me on this, I think it was like $86 a second for 15 years straight.
Wow.
It's incredible to just think of how much money has been raised over those 15 years for good causes, for good reasons, for people who need help or just want to even like have a wish come true.
Hmm. And this takes me aback because when I heard about GoFundMe for the very first time, I was like, this is a platform that is really making a huge difference in the world because it's directly supporting and directly helping the people in need, boots
Mm-hmm.
on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and also about the LA fires and Gaza and Palestine. And just, I'm just like, wow. I just, you could literally just see my face. I'm just like, me just thinking and just like all I ever want people to do in life is just to be good and to be happy and live a happy, healthy life. And the only way we can do that is just by supporting each other with kind, genuine support, whether it's monetarily or just showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And this could make me cry because I all I ever want, like my goal in life was to entertain people and help other people. And GoFundMe is doing that and has continued to do that over the years. And just now that you're in this role, of course, there has been a lot of unique challenges and opportunities that in fundraising, like through gaming events, what have been some unique challenges and opportunities that you have seen through gaming events while you were at GoFundMe?
Oh, that is a really good question. Um, So I would have to just say primarily within the gaming space and GoFundMe, We recently launched our tools. They're like not even 2 years old. I think they're like 14 months old at this point. So we're still very new. And when I mean tools, I mean like your OBS, URL, overlays, progress bar, etc. So we're still fairly new in getting into this space, but I'm really excited just about my experience that I get to bring to GoFundMe and the GoFundMe team and seeing those tools evolve. And I think probably the I don't know, I wouldn't even say challenge or even a roadblock, but just people are so set in their ways, especially in the live streams market. Think about the number of times, as a creator, you probably get an email saying, hey, here's a new monetization platform similar to Streamlabs or Stream Elements, etc. And creators are
Mm-hmm.
so set in their ways with the tools that they utilize, it can be sometimes um, intimidating to go in and say, hey, here's a new option. And I think that would be the biggest thing, but we're really hoping that the trust that we have built up over 15 years, that folks will look to GoFundMe as an option for their fundraising in the future through live streaming.
And I like that because I remember when you got the role and seeing like what you did in like your first few months at GoFundMe. I'm like, okay, you doing that. I like
I'm
that.
doing the
Keep
dang
doing it.
thing.
You are. And when I think of GoFundMe, I never really thought like in the very beginning, I'm like, I don't see them doing a lot of creator stuff, but there's a lot of creators on GoFundMe. You all did like your very first like ever fundathon, which I've heard before, like, of course, through like the telephone, like you call and then fundathon, but you did your
Hmm.
very first fundathon virtually with John and fundraising for 15 different non-for-profits and individual fundraisers throughout that stream. It was 15 hours long. Like,
Hmm.
kind of like take me like how did that go about with starting that and contacting John? Was he the first choice? Was like how did that all begin?
Yeah. So, believe it or not, it actually began on my very first day at GoFundMe.
Oh.
Um, in the in between my trainings and kind of meeting the team, I had an opportunity to meet with the director who was kind of overseeing our larger team, and her and I just jumped on a call. We're just kind of, bantering a little bit back and forth. The moment we were bantering, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get along very well with the people here, and just it also just showed the culture of GoFundMe. They're amazing here. But I was just like, hey, so I have this crazy idea of like a fundathon where it's a rapid fire kind of rapid fire way of fundraising for multiple nonprofits all at once. And they're like, okay, that's a cool idea. And then I think it was like a month later, they're like, hey, so we're celebrating 15 years at GoFundMe. Do you want to make the fundathon happen? And I immediately knew that I wanted to work with John Wolf. He has supported so many nonprofits in his career, and I had the opportunity to work with him during my time at Tiltify, as well as when I was actually a director at the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So I knew that he has real values in supporting people and wanting to help through his philanthropic work. So I just knew like right off the bat that he was like the perfect person for this. So myself and our creative partnerships team, we got on a call, pitched the idea, and next thing we're full steam ahead with a month of organization. And the fundathon ended up kicking off. It was a really, really great relationship, and in result, John was able to raise $65,000 for 8 individuals in need, as well as 7 nonprofits. And I think we keep kind of like returning back to storytelling, but I truly believe storytelling is the foundation of doing any help, of being able to encourage and move others to move along with you. And like I'm pretty sure that you've also done a marathon stream at some point for charity. Who hasn't?
Yes.
If you're a streamer, um, trying to like say the same talking points for 24 hours about the same organization or the same mission, it can get like a little repetitive. And what I saw during this moment is that John had the opportunity to tell 15 different stories. He had the opportunity for every hour to talk about this individual who needed funds for her cat because her cat needed critical surgery. And then the next hour, he's talking about World Central Kitchen. And then the next hour, he talks about another individual fundraiser. He actually did get to highlight a family friends fundraiser where their daughter was fighting a brain tumor, and got to share, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't think I've cried so hard in my life watching a live stream, other than this moment where he got to like actually share updates about the little girl and her progress and how it wasn't looking good. And then the next month that they went in, it was like miracles worked overnight. Oh, I was in absolute tears. But I think it just really great. It just showcases how important that storytelling is that because it continually moved people to donate every single hour, no matter what the story was or who it was supporting. Folks really like kind of attached to that storytelling element and just really wanted to just to continually give. And I think what a better way to really like cap off what 15 years of GoFundMe is. It is storytelling. It's knowing that at any given moment, there are thousands upon hundreds of thousands of stories happening on GoFundMe, and every single person needs help. And it's just a matter of finding the one that really resonates with you.
Yes. I wish I was able to see this live stream in real time because I would have been like, I'm in awe and I would love to be able to see more of that for like going further. And with fundraising and digital platforms growing every single day and new creators coming to different platforms every single day, you all had launched a while back ago your GoFundMe for creators, and kind of like tell me a little bit more about that because with GoFundMe, what's 15 years now going on 16 years, there's so many things going on, and this is like my first introduction of seeing GoFundMe collaborate and work with creators on their platform to continue to raise funds for individuals or non-for-profits.
Yeah, so we were really excited last year to launch our GoFundMe creator program. It's really designed to bring together the two things that we know are powerful, and that's the generosity of communities and the influence of creators. And our hope is that it creates a space where creators are feeling supported in their impact efforts, not just with tools, but with genuine strategy and resources and direct connection to causes that you care deeply about. So for creators, it means having access to opportunities that are authentic to your brand, authentic to your audiences. And for nonprofits, it means having the opportunity to tap into engaged communities that may have never been reachable through traditional fundraising. So we, like, for example, we could have a nonprofit come in and say, hey, we want to do this really cool thing with a creator. Do you have any in mind? We have this list of people who are a part of our creator program, and we see who is the best opportunity with a match for them. You know, like in the same way, you could come to me and say, "Hey, Ashley, I I want to fundraise um, for this mission or for this disease I just heard about, and I don't know where to start." We can kind of come in and we can help you start that. We can help be that strategy. We can help look into resources and see how we can even leverage our communications team, our socials team to really just amplify your efforts. And I think that's what really cool about this. I'm really hoping that the creator program empowers more people to see themselves as change makers and not just creators. Truly, it's about lowering barriers and giving more inclusivity to creators that is available.
Mm. I like what you said, like not just creators, but change makers. Like that
Yeah.
is better. I feel like that's a better wording because there's been so many talks of like influencers and creators and other little words about what this role or thing is. And I think the better term to say it is change makers.
Yeah,
That's way better.
it truly is, because like, yeah, influencers can influence you to buy a product or donate to a nonprofit, but change makers, they're not just also having you buy a product that can change a life or buy or donate to a nonprofit that can do something, but they are changing the way that we are interacting with each other. They're changing the way that we see the world and the way that we are able to change the world, make the world, and shape it how we want it to be ourselves.
Mm, indeed so. And I feel like with a lot of things come and go, like what have been some trends that you've seen like emerging in the charitable like giving, live streaming, fundraising space in your time at GoFundMe?
Yes, it's a little contradictory because I just was celebrating the fundathon for 15 hours, but I'm really seeing these like one-off marathon types of streams really starting to kind of like take a back seat. They have their time and place. Don't get me wrong on that. But what I'm really seeing is creators are naturally weaving philanthropy into their communities year round, whether it be constantly having like a donation button on their panels or on their screen, or it's becoming a part of their brand identity and culture. I would see I like coming from the 2015 era of fundraising where it was you had to do 24-hour fundraiser. It's now turning into like 2-3 hour little fundraisers all year long. And I think that is probably a trend that I've personally seen changing and something I really hope continues.
Hmm. I've seen some stuff like that before as well throughout my time of fundraising and like, just seeing different ways of fundraising, whether it's on like YouTube, TikTok,
Hmm.
Twitch, or even Twitter, Blue Sky. Everywhere I have seen a lot of things like that. And I think it's important to always to not burn yourself out when doing these
Yes.
things. Self-care is the
Yes.
best care, and taking care of yourself allows you to show up for your best self when you are ready to fundraise, whether it's the
Yeah.
next day or the next week.
It's the plane's going down. You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help others. You need to take care of yourself. And having done these marathon streams in the past, is they can be very exhausting, but also depending on how you do the marathon can be detrimental to your health. So make sure you always take care of yourself before you go on to try to change or take care of other things as well.
Exactly. My community always says, hydrate, don't dehydrate, which is very true. Always drink water,
Oh my
hydrate as
gosh.
much as possible.
Oh, I know.
Your
You know
body
the
needs.
Yeah, the hydration reminder and channel rewards reminder is probably one of the best and the worst things I've ever enabled on my stream because they will spam that constantly. And I'm like, you guys realize I'm now out of water and I have to walk away. And they're like, yeah, we want chair stream. Go get water. And I'm like, you guys are
It's like
crazy.
fine here. The chair can stream now for a good solid 2 seconds,
I
whatever.
know. Yeah, and then I have to like designate a mod in charge or somebody in charge, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna take over. Here goes. This is it.
Yep. So, what advice would you give to change makers who want to get involved in the charitable giving space?
Oh my gosh, there's so much advice. But I'll kind of boil it down just to 3 points. Number one, just do it. You don't need fancy bells, whistles, sponsors, donors. Simply create the fundraiser, tell people about it. That's all you need to do. Second, uh, don't accept money on behalf of a nonprofit. You don't want to put yourself in any weird areas. So it's always very, very important that you always fundraise through a reputable, trusted fundraising platform. If you don't know where to go, you can always ask the nonprofit which platforms they would prefer you to utilize. And then start your goals small. I've done it myself too, but I've don't set your goals incredibly large. Make them achievable. Celebrate the small wins. It's okay to set a bigger personal goal, but you want to make your public facing goals in much more smaller consumable segments. Plus, it looks more. You can beep this if you need to. Badass when you're able to keep raising your goal.
Exactly. It's always good to have a small goal and then slowly raise it when you achieve that goal in like
Mm-hmm.
maybe like $10, $50, $100, whatever is comfortable for you. Don't let the chat peer pressure you saying, "Let's go to 5,000." Like, we just raised $100. Let's go a
Yeah.
little bit slower. But no, it definitely, yeah. I think it's going small and then gradually increase it. Ask your community, like, what kind of incentives, what kind of
Yeah.
things can we do together, whether it's, I'll make a pie on stream, or I'll do a Lego stream, or I'll do
Mm-hmm.
the Hot Ones challenge or something
Yeah.
for like a certain
And
amount of money.
absolutely. And then when you're setting your goals, if the nonprofit has provided, talking points or um, kind of what certain impact donations can do. Like we mentioned earlier about the $100 is equivalent to a red wagon at St. Jude. Being able to, if your nonprofit has those, lean into them. Make your goal. I want to fund 10 wagons. That's $1,000. It becomes a more tangible storytelling element when it comes to fundraising. I had a friend of mine who once wanted to a number that he heard, I think it was actually from St. Jude, was this is how much money it costs for our ICU to run for 1 minute. And he's like, cool, I want to fund it for 1 second. And that's how he set his goal. And then every single time he got to raise the goal, it was, hey, we funded it for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, now 30 seconds. And that just becomes more tangible. So it's okay to start your goals small and then build them up from there.
Hmm. I like that because the St. Jude Play Live um, campaign is about to come up soon in May. So this is like
Mm-hmm.
a good thing to remind ourselves, like start small and then gradually kind of increase it over time and lean into the talking points, lean into the tools, the assets that the non-for-profits give you because it's going to help you to even further your campaign and even further your own knowledge and even your community's knowledge on what these non-for-profits do and how you can help even further outside of these campaigns online, whether you want to do it
Yeah.
in person or maybe even do it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, some of my favorite, Thanksgiving topics at the table with family is like, did you know if you guys donated $25 to St. Jude, it celebrates a no more chemo party? And they're like, what's a no more chemo party? I'm like, well, do you want to cry today? Here's a video of a no more chemo party. And, it's having those things even beyond streaming are just so powerful for you as a change maker. I'm going to start,
Mhm.
we're not calling them creators anymore. They're change makers. I love that.
Ex- Exactly. We shall make the trend change makers, not creators.
There we go.
And my last question before we get into some special things, how do you see the future of digital fundraising evolving in the next 10 years?
Yeah, so I think the biggest shift is that, especially now, people's wallets are getting a little tighter. Their capacity to give at higher levels isn't just what it used to be. And to this day, I do see creators really leaning into big donation rewards, like you mentioned, like spinning a wheel, making a pie, doing Hot Ones challenge, spicy foods for donations of like upwards of $100 to $500 donations. Now, don't get me wrong, those are always great. Um, and that works when audiences have more disposable income. But what I'm seeing happening now is there is a shift towards valuing micro donations, anything under 100, under $50. Creators are getting smarter about how they're acknowledging and celebrating those gifts because those smaller donations at scale is where that power is at. Um, I even recently saw it with Taylor Swift. She donated to a fundraiser on GoFundMe, and the Swifties picked it up, and they all donated just $13, and it raised hundreds of thousands of dollars just from a swarm of $13 donations. I've seen creators raise $17,000 in just a mere 15 minutes by challenging their communities to give $1. So I I see that's kind of where the shift of fundraising is going. It's not about uh, the small, large donations, those large whales, as we call them, in the creator space. But it's truly about the community as a whole giving together in much smaller micro increments. And especially with Gen Z and younger donors, it's less about the size of the gift and more about being a part of something bigger. So the future of fundraising isn't about those giant checks or those giant digital checks, but it's about building campaigns that welcome everybody in, no matter the capacity to give. And I think that's what I'm really excited about, and that's kind of where I see the future of digital fundraising evolving.
I like that. And this reminds me of a quote from my very interesting TV show. If you've seen Glee, I can quote
Mm,
it almost every single day. There's so many things in that show. But like there's one thing that I remember they said, being a part of something special makes you special. And that holds on to me every single day because I'm doing this thing and I'm a part of this thing and it makes me special, but it makes also them special at the same
yeah.
time. And I think we all got to remind ourselves that you're doing good, whether you're watching, donating, fundraising your own yourself, or just kind of spreading it word of mouth. You are doing good no matter
Yeah.
where you are. You're donating your time. It's like, never feel bad of, you can't donate $10 or $5 or even $1. Like, you are donating your time. Your time is valuable and your time is appreciated, whether you're watching a video or watching a stream for 1 hour,
Yeah.
10 hours. And
Absolutely.
it's important to know
Sharing,
that.
resharing,
Hmm.
encouraging your family or friends to go and donate to a campaign that you're supporting. Even if you can't donate yourself, can you volunteer? Your time is incredibly valuable. One thing that I like to try to kind of compartmentalize is if I was to take my salary and break it down by hourly, if I just volunteer 4 hours of my time, that equates X amount of dollars in donations is just my time if I volunteer. So if you can't donate, think about volunteering.
Hmm. Volunteering is the best way, and I honestly, people got to do it. People got to
Most of us
enjoy
got
it.
our started doing just volunteering.
Exactly. And to end this lovely episode off, let's do some rapid fire questions.
Okay, I'm excited for these.
Okay, one social media platform that you will stay on forever.
Can we bring back MySpace? Because
Yes.
if so, then it's definitely MySpace. I think MySpace was one of those like I felt the most creative and the most like I used to like know HTML and like CSS and like
Yes.
coding my MySpace. If I could bring back any platform, it would 100% be MySpace, and I would stay on it forever.
Oh, same. I find MySpace so lovely, so talented. Tom was my number one friend, and he'll remain my number one friend.
He was everybody's first online friend. Yeah,
Yeah, I always wonder how to even do that. That's a lot of people.
I know,
Wow.
right?
Hey, he sold it and now he's doing something even greater and he's enjoying what he is doing, which is nice. So,
Love
hey,
that.
power to him.
Exactly.
Next question. Next
Mm-hmm.
question. Favorite book you're reading right now?
Oh, so I'm currently reading Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Um,
Ooh.
but my favorite book that I read the last year is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. That I would say that book put me in a reading coma where I couldn't pick up any other books for like 3 months. It was
No.
devastating, and I cannot wait for the movie this November.
No, that's valid. I've read a lot of books in the last year and I'm like, I have not read that one yet, but I need to. It's on my TBLR. Um, I'm slowly going back and reading the Hunger Game books because I've never read
Oh,
them,
oh my
but I
gosh!
know it's gonna
Okay,
throw me in a loop.
I need you to like send me messages as things are happening. I need to know your experiences because I think that is just such like everybody's like first time reading Hunger Games is just like this like what the hell moment, and I always want to be there
Yeah.
for it.
That's me right now with Bridgerton because I've never seen it and I'm on season 3, episode 6, and that show. Ooh, it's too much, but I love it.
I still gotta watch Bridgerton. I'm also kind of in this kick of like watching old TV shows that I never got to. Like I'm on the final season of Nurse Jackie, and I'm just like
Ooh.
hooked. I can't stop watching right now.
Oh, you definitely got to watch Bridgerton because season 4 comes out this month, and I heard that there might be like 8 seasons because it's a book that I've also have never read. So I'm like,
Mm.
it's good though. It's good. It'll definitely keep you interested if you love like period pieces, especially like drama and stuff
I'm a
like back in like
history
the
nerd. I'm already
1800s.
one.
Oh yeah, you'll love it for sure. um, the last and final thing is your goal for 2026.
My goal for 2026 is very similar to my goal for 2025, but a little bit more reasonable for me and my time. But last year, my goal was to read 30 books, and I read six, which I'm like, oh, that's way off of what my goal was. But like I was a huge avid reader in high school. I didn't read too much going into college in the last 2 years. So reading six books in a year is kind of like an accomplishment after this. But my goal for 2026 is I want to read 12. So I'm trying to double that. So
Okay, it's
start
good.
small goals, small goals.
Exactly. Like we said, start small, then slowly increase it.
Yep.
Very important. I only read 4 books and my goal was 3. And now I'm like,
There you
I'm gonna do a little bit more this year. And I always say, like, reading, paperback or hardback is good, but then I
go.
always say audiobooks is another way of consuming literature, just
Mhm.
listening to it too. So that's what I always say. Enjoy what you enjoy and however you enjoy it, that's on you.
Exactly.
Well, to end things off for today, I would love to have you share where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm Ashleeeean on every social platform. That's ASHLEEEEEEAN. It's 5 E's. Trust me, I count it on my hands every time. And if you are wanting to start a fundraiser, you can start a fundraiser today on GoFundMe at GoFundMe.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the GoFundMe Creator Program, you can go to GoFundMe.com/creators.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that lovely information. I am so excited to experience more about GoFundMe, especially GoFundMe for creators, the work that you all do. And also congratulations on 15 years. That's huge.
Thank
So,
you. We are so excited, going into the 16th year at GoFundMe. It's like, what's coming up
yes.
next?
I can definitely anticipate very, very good and exciting things, especially for the holiday season and also summer season and just so many things that you're all doing. I'm
Mhm.
beyond happy and proud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And with that, my friends, we will hopefully see you all and hear from you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, my friends, that was the end of today's episode with my good friend Ashley. I hope you all really enjoyed it. I definitely sure did. For me, having this podcast has been truly a dream come true, especially for season 2, talking to different people from different backgrounds, whether they're content creators from YouTube or Twitch, or they work at a non-for-profit, and just learn about charity fundraising and their reason why for fundraising and why they do what they do is so truly inspiring. And talking with Ashley today made me so happy and so joyful to know that what we're doing today and how we're doing it is making a global impact. But with all that to say, I do hope you all enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. I truly was so happy to chat with Ashley today about video games, charity fundraising, The Sims, life, everything in between. It's just so refreshing. And honestly, what GoFundMe is doing literally every single day, day by day, 1 second at a time, is truly inspiring and making a huge impact on people's lives and family members, the world. It is just a refreshing, kind, wonderful place. And if you ever want to make your own campaign for the first time or the 100th time, I will leave all the details down below in the description. But as always, I do hope you all enjoyed. Definitely go ahead and comment, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, wherever you get your podcasts. And I hopefully will hear and see you all next time. Bye!